A group of senators has been lobbying the SEC to become more aggressive. Senator Ted Kaufman's been leading those efforts. He is the Delaware Democrat who took over Vice President Joe Biden's Senate seat. And Senator, thank you very much for joining us today.
Hey, Becky, thanks for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you think the SEC needs to be doing and why?
Well, there's a number of things I think the SEC should be doing. I've been talking to them about the predatory short selling and the problems with predatory short selling. They're going to come out with an announcement today on what they're going to be doing on that, and we can talk about that. Also, I've been very concerned about market structure. What has happened during the last 8 years? We had a theory of not having regulation. Alan Greenspan said he was dismayed that self-regulation didn't work. So a lot of things went on. One of them is we changed from a floor-based system to a digitalization, decimalization system. And coming out of that, we started a whole new industry called high-frequency trading that has never been looked at and never been studied. So I think, this SEC has a full plate.
Specifically on the predatory short selling, naked short selling, that's already illegal. Why aren't we doing more to enforce the laws that are already on the books?
Well, we'll find out today. All I know is about the announcement they're going to make today is what I read in the newspaper like you do. But I'm very concerned that, we've known about predatory short selling for hundreds of years. We know that one of the things when you have a free market, there are people going to come in and they're going to drive down prices. I am totally okay with short selling. I do it myself. But predatory short selling has to stop. And
you do it yourself?
Yeah, I do short selling, not predatory short selling. But what we know is that for 70 years after the debacle in 1929, we put in a thing called the uptick rule, which would regulate it and slow it down. That was 2007. The SEC Commission, in a decision to deregulate, did away with that. And we know that during the Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns that there was predatory bear short selling. And so what we have to do, first, if we're putting out the uptick rule or something like that, the second thing we have to do, which is really, really important, is there's a thing called naked short selling, where when I sell short, I have to have the stock that I sell it. Now,
but naked short selling is already illegal.
No, there's no way to enforce it, though. The rule right now is a reasonable belief standard, which everyone says, including the folks from the SEC, you can't enforce that. We need a new standard. And what we need is a hard locate on short sales so that I just can't go and say I've got 500 shares. I know I'm getting 500 shares. I actually have to have it. And as you know, what they did is the SEC put in this failure to deliver rule. But we know that during Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers, literally millions of shares there were failures to deliver, and nothing's ever been done about it.
Well, in the immediate aftermath of Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers, there were these bans on short selling that were put in, or at least holds on how much you could do in terms of short selling with a lot of those financial stocks.
Exactly.
The short sellers, or the famed short sellers who would come out and talk about this, said, hey, the problem is you are not letting the markets naturally do their jobs, which is to weed out the weakest players, find cases of fraud like happened in Enron beforehand. How do you put in additional rules without cutting off the market's ability to really scent out bad players or weak players?
Becky, look, there's one basic rule we have in this country. You can't sell something you don't have.
Sure.
And so, I'm all for that. As I said, I'm in favor of short selling. I think it brings liquidity to the market. I don't think there's anything wrong with short sellers and the rest of it. But predatory short selling, selling stock that I do not own and do not have a hold on in order to drive up drive down stocks is just wrong. And we've known it for hundreds of years. This is not something that's new, some complex technical. Go read any of the history books. We've known that predatory short selling is bad, and we know if you allow people, because we found on Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers, if you don't make them have a hard locate on what stock they're showing, they'll sell millions of shares that they don't own, drive the price down, and then we're left with the aftermath. So,
But would that be enough for you if they put something in to make sure you actually own these stocks first, and that there was a way to check it, or would you like to see?
I think they absolutely have to do that. We have to have a systemic approach. There's talk in the paper they're going to put in a circuit breaker. Not bad idea. But a circuit breaker basically sends a message. Basically what they say in the press they're going to say is there's a 10% drop. Well, if there's a 10% drop on a stock and everybody knows that the market stopped it, the next day everybody's going to be selling because they know the bears are out and they have to get them.
All right.
I tell you, Becky, one last thing, and that is there are plenty of people on Wall Street who I talk to every day, people in major financial institutions that know what are going on but just will not say anything. And it really would be very important for people on Wall Street who know what predatory short selling is all about and know the impact will come forward and say what's going on. That's what's going to take to get some real regulation.
All right, Senator, thank you very much. We appreciate your time, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Becky.
I want to get a check on the markets this morning. We did see some selling in Asia taking the cue.